My name is Leona Whitney Beatty. I am CEO and founder over at Josephine and Billy's. We're the first dispensary in the country to focus on women of color. I'm also vice president of Supernova Women. We're a 501c3 that seeks to encourage women of color to become stakeholders in the cannabis space. My background's actually in the entertainment industry. I worked in entertainment for 15 years. My last job was Senior Vice President of Development over at Warner Brothers Telepictures, developing daypart syndication and reality TV for one of their divisions. But as I was working in the entertainment industry, I had a situation where I was sitting at my desk, working 16-hour days on a reality TV show, and I started feeling heart palpitations, chest pains, cold sweats, the whole 9 yards. I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was gonna die. And they said, "Excuse me, lady, you're not having a heart attack, you're having an anxiety attack." So I was put on different types of medications. I didn't like any of them. And an offhand comment, my doctor said, "Hey, have you thought about cannabis?" And I was like, for me, I grew up in Detroit in the 80s, in the middle of the war on drugs. Nancy Reagan told me to say no to drugs. I believed her. I didn't think that Nancy was gonna lie to me. But what that did was it made me do my research. I was able to learn about CBD and THC and terpenes and the way that cannabis can help control anxiety. And I was able to find a regimen that was able to do that for me and not have me be on medicine for the rest of my life in my late 20s, early 30s. The idea that communities of color have been disproportionately disenfranchised by the war on drugs and in legalization deserve prioritization, I definitely believe in, especially in a space where less than 2% of licensed businesses are Black owned. So when the Los Angeles DCR opened up the opportunity for social equity and I qualified, I was like, this is really my opportunity to show my community plant medicine. And it really became just that easy. The concept of Josephine and Billy's, it's named after or pays homage to Josephine Baker and Billie Holiday, who are two women of color who were persecuted for their cannabis consumption. And yet they used their art to fight against injustice, they rejected the mainstream, and they wrote their own rules, all while holding the door open for others that would come after. So I went through the seed funding program, and I was able to collect those funds, and it did help. We had a lot of fees that we saw because of the delays within the process. We had to hold a property for 2 years without making money. And as the people who are considered to be disproportionately disenfranchised, we're the least likely to be able to, to shoulder those burdens. When we opened, we did not have stockpiles of cash. We had spent the cash. We needed to open or else we were not going to survive. And so being able to have that additional funding to cover some of those expenses did make a huge difference. I think that for people who are just entering the cannabis industry, I think number one, you need to know what you're getting into. If you're getting into this space to get rich, if you think that there's a green rush and people have told you now is the time, go back to whatever you were doing. Because that is not the case. This is a real industry, it's a real space, but there's lots of competition, and you definitely have to have a point of view, a niche market, and a way in which you're planning on connecting to the consumer base that is real and actual. I think that that's going to be critical for people moving forward. I think that there's lots of ways that the DCR could be helpful to me and other social equity applicants. I love seeing grant programs coming out, the SEED program, then the new money that they're putting in for rental assistance. I would love to see that portion grow. I think that we really need to see loans being offered out. I'd love to see opportunities for people to participate in things like community kitchens or co-ops that help lower their initial startup costs and allow them to get into business. I think that those things are going to make a huge difference in having people be able to start viable businesses. I think the top 3 traits would definitely be a determination, because this is not easy. It's a long path. There's a lot of process, and you have to be determined to get through it. I think that it is a love of the plant or the industry. I think you have a direction, if you will. My North Star is always that it's important to me to be able to share information on plant medicine with my community because they need it. That's, even when it gets hard, even when it's difficult, that's my North Star. I know I'm gonna wake up and fight another day because I know that my community needs it and deserves it. So that really keeps me pushing. And then patience. patience, because it takes a long time to get through these processes. Even when your business is open, it takes a long time to build your audience. You need to be in it for the long haul.